Okay, so really quickly, Monday, we're going to be reading House on Mango Street, okay? So you need to get a copy of House on Mango Street. It's pretty cheap. You can find it at almost any bookstore, probably super cheap at Katie Budget Books. They probably have tons of copies. Amazon, you can order it on Amazon very cheaply. If you have Prime, it'll be here in 2 days. If you don't have Prime and it's going to take a little bit longer to get here, you may be able to like Google House on Mango Street and find some sort of like free version online somewhere, like a PDF or something. I don't know, you can Google it. I do have linked to the audiobook right on my homepage. So if you click that, it'll take you to the audiobook. If you are really, really struggling to find a copy anywhere, you can have your parent message me, email me, or message me on mine. Let me know that you're really struggling to get it. We do have some copies here at Taylor because we had like a class set when we would read them together in class. But of course, because of COVID, we can't do that because there's no way to sanitize the book between one student and the next student. So just a BT dubs, that's going to be the issue all year. Okay. We do not have copies. We have copies of the book, but like just a class set. And so they're not letting us use those because we can't sanitize paper, right? So everybody has to have their own copy of the books. Now, when we do like Romeo and Juliet, that's in the textbook, okay? When we do To Kill a Mockingbird, that's in your textbook. So you'll have access to that via the online textbook. So if I still like to have a hard copy of it, so that way I can, write in it. You also, and when we do Anthem, which is our other book, you can write to the Ayn Rand Foundation and she will give you a free copy, but also because she gives free copies, it is available 100% for free, like PDF style online. You can get the full text PDF online for free because she feels like her book is important, and it's more important for kids to be able to read her book and get the message from her book than it is for her to make money off the book. So she offers it for free to people, which is really, I think, benevolent of her. So House on Mango Street's really the only one you have to buy all year because the rest are either available for free online or in the textbook, okay? But again, if you're really struggling to find a copy, let me know. We do have some here. I only have about 30, okay? That's not going to give one to everybody in the freshman class. But for those of you that are really struggling, if your parent messages me, they could meet me at Taylor one day after school or something, and I can get it to them, okay? But we're going to be starting reading it on Monday, so please do have that. Also, remember I said about work that was not done those first 3 days, and if you got a 0 for it, okay? So yesterday I reopened the Netiquette quiz. That is closed, like full on now, okay? Will not reopen. Today, I will be, when this class is over, I will reopen the reflective writing assignment, okay? Actually, I might do that while we're reading for 10 minutes. I'll probably do that real quick. So reflective writing assignment will reopen today. So if you have a 0 for that, you'll have until 11:59 p.m. to get that in and replace your 0. Tomorrow, the SMART goals will reopen. So if you got a 0 on the SMART goals or you didn't get full credit because you didn't reply to 2 people, you only replied to like 1 person, or you only posted and didn't reply to anybody, so you didn't get a decent grade, you can resubmit and redo that, okay, for full credit tomorrow. Please make sure you're keeping up with your assignments this week, okay, because they all close on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And I'm not going to be every week be sitting here reopening stuff. I can't do that. I can't grade this week's stuff and last week's stuff. That's too much, okay? So you guys have got to get your assignments in on time. So the Sunday at 11:59 p.m., everything's going to close. And if you have a 0 for it, you're going to have a 0 for it. So please make sure you're keeping up with your assignments and getting your work done. All right, are there any questions about any of that? Awesome. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and start reading for 10 minutes. Again, please make sure that you are filling in your reading log each day. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next page because it's full. and continue filling it in over here. For today, let me share my screen with what we're doing today. Oh, hang on. I'll get there eventually. Get it together. Share screen here and share. Okay, so, and again, if you are doing it in your reader's notebook online, okay, reading log, go to your reading log. Okay, add today's date, 8/27. Oop, not 8/87, haha, 8/27. Okay, what page you're starting on. So I will be starting on page 199, 199. Okay, yeah, because that's where I stopped last time. All right, so, and again, I'm still reading Someone We Know, so I won't have to write my, my title again, okay? All right, so I'm going to put the timer on for 10 minutes. All right, let's go. All right, so let's go to our quick write today. Again, this goes in the seed writing section, okay? And if you're doing a digital notebook, okay, again, writer's notebook, seed writings, new, Google Doc, title it Quick Write 4. Center, Quick Write, Smithereens. Enter and go back to the line left. Okay, and then type right here. All right. This is another George Ella Lyons poem. I said we were going to be reading from his collection, Many Storied House. Okay, so this one's titled Smithereens. October, and we're in the library watching the president on TV, standing up to the Russians putting missiles in Cuba. October, and I am in 8th grade, old enough to know the shift and the charge of the room is not a whiff of thunderstorm, that the stunned look on my parents' faces is fear. The gray and white gravity of JFK leaks out into the house. Dim scarlet dogwood in the front yard, yellow Dutch elm in the back. It takes the taste of meatloaf too. The drain we could all go down is whirling at our feet. On the dusty blackboard last year, Mr. Smith looped the invisible solar system of the atom. The energy that holds everything together can be reversed, he said, and blow it all apart. Some schools had bomb drills, kids cowering under their useless desks. But we didn't, the teacher explained, because we lived so close to Oak Ridge. I was relieved. Till walking home, it hit me what she meant. Oak Ridge was a prime target. No need to worry equaled no hope. What was wrong with grown-ups? At least the president, the youngest ever, with a yacht, a glossy wife, and kids coloring in the Oval Office, at least he was telling the truth. This is what the world is. Great forces must stick to their orbits or unleash the rush that will blow us all to smithereens. All right, so this is about the bomb drills that they did in the late 40s, early 50s during the Cold War, okay? They would have to practice kind of like, you know, we have to do active shooter drills because that is an issue in our society today. They had to do bomb drills because the threat of a nuclear bomb was very real back then, okay, with Russia and the issues that America had with Russia, the conflict. Okay. So they would hide under the desk and do things. Not that hiding under a desk is going to protect anyone in a nuclear blast. Okay. Again, you'd all be blown to smithereens. That's kind of the teacher's point. We don't do drills because if we get hit with a nuclear bomb, hiding under the desk isn't going to save you. So there was no point to it. Okay. All right. So here's our prompt. There are often events or moments in our lives that leave a lasting impact. Those events could be national, like 9/11 or COVID-19. They could be local, like Hurricane Harvey or the Santa Fe High School shooting, or even personal, like the birth or death of a loved one or a parent's divorce. Write about an event that has had a significant and lasting impact on your life. Has this been a positive or negative impact? Remember, we want to make sure we're writing for at least 3 minutes, okay? But no more than 5 minutes, all right? So I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes, and I will let you know when 3 minutes have passed. Again, this goes in the seed writings. Please begin. All right, so that's your time. I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about something else that we are going to do with our independent reading, and that's keep a thought log. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about how to set up a thought log. So let's go to thought logs, explanation, and examples. So first, you will need to either print out and glue the following PDF into the inside cover of your reader's notebook, okay? Or you can download it to your computer and then upload to your digital reader's notebook, okay? So you can say download it and save it as a Google Doc and put it in your reader's notebook if you're doing a digital one, okay? If you're doing a regular one, you'll want to print it out and glue it in. So you see, here's my cover. Okay, and I have it printed and I have it glued right in here. Okay, so let's look at what that is. Let's look at this handout. Track your thinking. Okay, so these are things that you're going to be wanting to write about as you're reading your independent reading novel. So I used to think blank, but now I think blank. I still think blank, but I'd like to add blank. Others think blank, but I think blank. Other things you can track over time. A character. How does a character change? What insights does the character gain? Okay, so let me show you the other screen, and we're going to look at an example of how to track characters. Okay, so here's little fires everywhere when I was tracking characters. Pearl, right here. She moves a lot. Her mom is unstable. She knows how to fix things. She prefers empty homes to subletting. She has genius level intelligence. She's unsure if her mom wanted her. Mia, she's Pearl's mom. She's selfish. I felt like my opinion of her was that she was selfish. She's an artist who works minimum wage jobs that barely feed and clothe her daughter. She forces her daughter to live in poverty for the sake of her art. Okay, she was always taking these minimum wage jobs because she wanted more time to devote to her art. She didn't want to have to work a corporate job that paid decently and had medical insurance and all of that, because then she would have to keep regular business hours and it didn't allow her time to focus on her art. So instead of working a job that provided for her daughter, she made her daughter suffer and live, in poverty, so that way she could have time to focus on her art. And as a mother myself, I felt like that was a very selfish choice of Mia. She put herself first and her wants and needs to do her art than the well-being and care of her child. So I didn't like her very much. Something is up with the way Pearl was born. It's very clear as you're reading the book. Pearl always asks about her dad. Why do you never talk about my dad? And Mia's always very secretive about it. Never wants to discuss it. Don't ask me. Aren't I enough? You know, just our relationship. We're so close. If you had if you knew your dad, had a relationship with him, you wouldn't be as close to me. So there's clearly something sketchy going on with the way Pearl was born. Something ain't right. Moody. He was into Boy in the Neighborhood. He's fascinated by Pearl, possibly in love with her, and he absolutely was. He feels almost in ownership over her. He gets, as Pearl starts coming around the house more, he's got a lot of siblings. There's 4 kids in his house. One's a senior, one's a junior, one's a sophomore, one's a freshman. So they're all in high school. So they're all kind of in the same age range. So as Pearl starts coming over and hanging out with his family, she starts developing friendships with his siblings. And Moody would get very jealous about that. And it was almost like, because he met her first and became friends with her first, she was his friend. And he was not real cool with her having friendships with his brothers and sisters. He's very jealous of Lexi and Tripp's relationship with Pearl. Lexi is his sister and Tripp is his brother, and he's very jealous of their friendships with her. Anytime anytime Pearl and Lexi would go off and like do girly stuff together and go shopping, he'd be very jealous of that. Tripp was really struggling in school, and like I said, Pearl was genius level intelligence. So anytime Pearl would come over and like tutor Tripp and help him on his homework, he would get very jealous of that, okay? Lexi is the sister. She's beautiful and popular. She wants to make over Pearl because Pearl's like one of those girls who's very genius and smart. And she's got that potential to be beautiful, but she doesn't wear makeup and doesn't really dress cute, whatever. But Lexi's like, oh my gosh, she could be so gorgeous. If I just like put some makeup on her and put her in a cute outfit and did her hair, oh my gosh, she'd be a bombshell. So Lexi totally wants to like make her over, okay? All right, so this is kind of how you would track characters. All right, let's go back. What big ideas are developed? What conflict arises? What do these conflicts tell the reader? What claims does the author make? What passages support these claims? Okay, so let me show you what it looks like to track that. Okay, you could do that in tracking the plot. Here, exposition. Pearl and Mia move to Shaker Heights. Pearl befriends the Richardson kids. Mia begins to have reservations about her decision. Mia begins cleaning the Richardson house as a side job. Izzy gets suspended from school. Rising action and climax. Mia and Izzy begin to form a bond. Izzy becomes Mia's assistant. The kids discover Mia's photograph in the art museum, but Mia refuses to discuss it. Izzy begins to investigate the photograph. Mrs. Richardson takes over the investigation. Mrs. Richardson interviews Mia's parents. The climax, holy crap, Pearl isn't Mia's biological child, it's a surrogate, okay? And then I left following action and resolution, okay? So, all right, so that's how you could track conflict and plot. So we figured out what was going on with Mia and Pearl and why she was so weird about their relationship, okay? Another way to track conflict and stuff is right here. So you would put title right here, conflict, who wins, how did they win, okay? And this is changes, what changes in the novel, what changes occur in the novel, what's caused the changes, what characters are affected by the changes, okay? What loose ends are tied up, how will life go on, okay? So you could set it up like this. All right, here's characters. Okay, how are the characters described? How do the characters interact? Here's setting. What are some problems and solutions? Problem, Karen crashed her car in a bad part of town and has no memory of the accident or why she was there. That's another book, okay? This one was, this book is A Stranger in the House. The other book by the same girl who wrote this one, someone we know. This one, the woman got in a car accident and then had no memory of her, of the accident or anything before. She had like amnesia or whatever. So she cried, but she was in like a really like bad part of town, but she's from a very nice part of town. Like, you know, being from Katy, but you get in a car crash in Fifth Ward. What is this suburban mom in a nice car doing in Fifth Ward? Like, what business does she have over there? Okay. So that's actually that's also another really good book. All right. So back to this. What techniques or moves does the writer make? What literary devices are used? Example, foreshadowing, personification. Where does the author use punctuation and sentence structure effectively? What are key passages and why? Notice beautiful sentences and passages. Comment on them. Track your confusion. What is confusing at the beginning of the book? Does the confusion remain or does it clear up? What passages, sentences, words do you find confusing? Show evidence that you're wrestling with confusion. Okay, so let's look at that. Right here, I have questions. What is Izzy's deal? She was kind of a weirdo, right? The freshman daughter, she was like really obsessed with like fire. She was a little pyromaniac. She dressed in all black, super gothic-y, like fought with her mom all the time, kind of like emo type, whatever. And I was like, what is her problem? Like, she lives in a beautiful house in suburbia. Her parents are loaded. Like, what's her deal? Me, what's up with Mia and Pearl's relationship? And then I might answer, oh my God, Pearl isn't Mia's. Mia was carrying it for the Ryans. Wait, is the baby Mia's and Mr. Ryan's? God, which is exactly what happened. Pearl was hers, but the Ryans were like, hey, we can't get pregnant. So Mr. Ryan was like, can, you have our baby. So they did the whole like insemination thing, right? And then once she got pregnant, she couldn't give the baby up, so she ran off with the kid and ran off with Pearl and told the couple who had paid her to have the baby, oh, sorry, had a miscarriage, so the baby died, so sorry, whatever, even though the baby was born. Quotes I really liked is anger is fear's bodyguard. So I jotted that down because I felt like that is true. When my kids hurt themselves, I yell at them and scream at them, right? Because I don't like seeing my kids hurt. And I'm like, oh, why did you do that? Look, now you're hurt. If you hadn't done that, you wouldn't have gotten hurt. But it's just because I'm not really mad at them. I'm afraid, right? I'm afraid of my kids getting hurt. So when they do something that could danger them and hurt them, I scream and yell at them in anger because I'm really afraid. So as a mother, that line spoke to me. Anger is fear's bodyguard. That really spoke to me. So I jotted down that quote. Okay. All right. Let's finish looking at this really quickly. That statements. Oh, sorry. Thought starters. Here's some sentence starters. If you're like, I don't know what to write. I noticed, I wonder, I was reminded of, I think, I'm surprised that, I'd like to know. If I were, the central issue is, or one of the consequences of blank could be blank. If blank, then blank, I'm not sure, although it seems. And then that statements. This passage makes me think that blank. This passage makes me feel blank. The author is suggesting that blank. Okay? So what I want you all to do today is I want you to start your thought log. Okay? Again, it's in your reader's notebook. Okay, so, and if you're doing it digitally, thought log, new, Google Doc, okay, and you'll start your thought log. What I want is I want you to do setting and characters. So you could do one of two ways, okay? You could either do it like this, where you're tracking characters here, and then you're tracking the exposition. You would talk about setting in the exposition. How is your story starting? Okay. Or you could set it up like this. You're going to list your characters here. Who are the characters you've been introduced to? Describe them. How are they related, or how do these characters know each other? How are they connected? And then setting up here. Where is it set? Suburbs of northern New York State. So why is the setting important? Setting is important because clearly they are wealthy, and it is very strange and suspicious that Karen would have been in that bad, poor part of town. Okay? Any problems that have been introduced. Problem, Karen crashed her car in a bad part of town and has no memory of the accident or why she was there. You probably don't have any solutions to the problems yet. You're probably not that far, okay? But I'm sure you've gotten at least one problem been introduced, okay? So I want to see characters, setting, how the characters are described, how they interact, and at least one problem, okay? So you can set it up this way on a page, or again, you could set it up where you have your characters here and you're describing them and listing them. And then you're filling in your exposition, maybe part of your rising action. Okay. Describe your setting, what's going on, and rising action here. Once you get that done, I want you to submit your thought log. Okay. Snap a picture of your thought log in your reader's notebook or screenshot your thought log in your digital reader's notebook and upload. Note, this is not a grade. This is for me to provide feedback so you can make sure you're doing it correctly. So that when it is a quiz grade, which the next time we upload, it will be a quiz grade. You know you're doing it right. Okay, so this is your opportunity to upload it without penalty, okay, and no grades attached to it. So I can tell you, you know, that looks good, but if you want a higher grade, you're going to need to do this. Okay, so that way you know, or hey, that looks great, perfect, that's exactly what you need to do when I ask you to upload it for real for a grade. Okay? Now, are there any questions at this point? No? Awesome. Do not forget also to take your attendance quiz, okay? So that way you are marked present for today. Don't forget that attendance quiz. All right, you guys have the rest of the class period to work. If y'all don't have any questions, y'all just go ahead and work and I will let you know when class is over. I'm gonna mute myself, okay? All right.